Farewells in top-level sports always have this kind of unique feeling, don't they? It's
Hmm.
more than just a player moving clubs. It's like closing a book, often one full of amazing moments and, well, real connections.
Yeah, definitely. And that's exactly what we're getting into today.
Right, the departure of Kevin De Bruyne from Manchester City. Specifically, we want to look at what his manager, Pep Guardiola, said, his reflections at De Bruyne's farewell event.
Exactly. And we've got this really interesting source, an article from High Cora, dated May 21st, 2025. It gives us a window into that moment.
Yeah.
And what makes it compelling isn't like just the transfer news itself, it's the emotion, the insight into the bond between De Bruyne and the City fans.
Okay.
So our goal here is to really explore Guardiola's words, understand the feeling around this exit, and maybe what it says about players and fans in football today.
Okay, great. So let's unpack this, starting with Guardiola's his initial reaction. The article says he had mixed feelings, which, yeah, that sounds about right. He's quoted saying, and this is translated, "It's a mix of feelings. Part of it is sad because De Bruyne was very important to all of us.
Right.
And on the other hand, happy because I felt and everyone felt the bond that was and will always be between him and our fans."
That mix, sadness and happiness.
Uh-huh.
What do you think that tells us about what a manager like Guardiola values there?
Well, it strikes me that he immediately flags the fan connection. It's not just about tactics or trophies lost.
Exactly. It suggests his impact, De
Yeah.
Bruyne's impact, went way beyond just what happened on the pitch.
Yeah.
That happy part seems directly tied to that relationship, that legacy with the supporters. It makes you think maybe part of a manager's job satisfaction is seeing a player truly embraced like that.
It's interesting because you think of Guardiola as the ultimate tactician, right? But here, he's highlighting something purely emotional, this fan bond.
Totally. He clearly sees it as a massive part of De Bruyne's story at City.
Okay, and then it gets, well, really interesting for me. Guardiola talks about De Bruyne's connection, or maybe lack of connection, when he first arrived.
Ah, yes.
He said, and again translated, "I am completely sure that De Bruyne was not a City fan when he came here, and I don't know which team he supported.
Okay.
But I now trust that he has become a City fan and will remain so forever because there is a bond between him and the club and everyone in it."
Wow. That's quite a statement, isn't it?
It really is. Someone coming in, maybe supporting someone else entirely, and then developing this deep, permanent connection. What's that tell us about how a player becomes like part of a club?
Well, it really makes you think about identity, doesn't it, in sports
Yeah.
and belonging.
Yeah.
It suggests these things aren't fixed. They're built through experiences, dedication, and crucially, that back and forth with the fans.
So the fans play a real role in that.
It seems Guardiola thinks so. Bruyne's journey, in his eyes, shows how supporters can kind of pull a player into the club's heart. It's not just wearing the shirt.
It's earning that affection, maybe, becoming part of the narrative.
Exactly. And you could argue that his performances year after year, that consistency, combined with how he interacted with fans,
Mm.
maybe that's what cemented it for Guardiola.
And the article makes it clear this wasn't just a footnote. Guardiola says, quite plainly, "It is a sad day. Everyone will certainly miss De Bruyne."
Yeah, that directness.
It really hits home, that collective feeling. Even without this source going into his specific passes or goals, you feel the size of the gap he's leaving.
Right. We all know his quality on the pitch, that incredible passing range, unlocking defenses. That was obviously vital for City.
But this quote focuses purely on the emotional side.
Exactly. Everyone will certainly miss De Bruyne. That says so much about his influence in the dressing room, his personality, the atmosphere he helped create.
It suggests he was more than just a great player. He was integrated into the whole fabric of the place.
Definitely. Integrated is a good word for it.
Okay, now, just to give a bit of context, the Hikora article also mentions what else was happening around that time. May 21st, 2025.
Ah, the wider picture.
Yeah, it lists some most popular today items, stuff about Ancelotti in Brazil, Real Madrid's transfer moves, debates in La Liga. And also, City had actually played Bournemouth just the day before on Tuesday, May 20th.
Right.
It just helps place this farewell. It wasn't happening in a vacuum.
No, absolutely not. And
Yeah.
seeing it alongside those other big stories, Ancelotti, Real Madrid, it kind of underlines De Bruyne's own stature, doesn't it?
Yeah, good point.
That even with all that other major football news swirling around, his departure, his farewell, was still a significant event that resonated. It highlights his impact.
So when we boil all this down,
Yeah.
what are the key things to take away from Guardiola's words here?
Well, I think there are sort of two main strands. First, there's clearly this genuine sadness at City, a real sense of loss.
Hmm.
But second, and maybe this is the more profound point, is the strength of that connection De Bruyne built with the fans. Guardiola really emphasizes that.
The idea that he's become a lifelong City fan himself.
Exactly. That's a powerful testament to the bond that was formed.
And that feels like the real aha moment here, doesn't it? That this deep connection isn't necessarily about where you start from.
Precisely. It kind of challenges that notion that you have to be born into performance and through that appreciation from the fans coming back the other way.
So wrapping up our deep dive then,
Mm-hmm.
looking at this High Core article really gave us a strong sense of Pep Guardiola's feelings at Kevin De Bruyne's farewell.
Mm-hmm.
It underlined not just, how important De Bruyne was on the pitch for City, but maybe even more powerfully, that lasting connection he made with the supporters.
A connection Guardiola believes will last forever.
Yeah. Which leaves us, and you listening, with maybe a final thought to consider.
Right. What does it actually mean for a player and a fan base to connect on that really deep level?
And how does that kind of legacy live on, not just in the stats, but in the collective memory, the feeling fans have long after the player's gone?
Maybe think about other examples, perhaps in sports, perhaps somewhere else entirely, where that kind of powerful, lasting bond has been forged, crossing the usual lines of loyalty, something to mull over.